Tecmo Koei's Dynasty Warriors series is primarily known for its combat system that allows you to fight in many famous battles from 3rd century Chinese history, playing as one of the many officers and soldiers from that time period. While the series does have its obvious anachronisms, and does rely quite a bit on hypothetical retellings of alternate outcomes, you do have to wonder how close to history some of the playable characters are. And to see how this fares, let's take a look at one of the most important characters in both Koei's version of ancient China and the historical figure he's based on. I'm the Kitsune Hawk, and today we'll be taking a look at the founder of the Kingdom of Wei, Cao Cao. So get out your pencils, trivia enthusiasts, because this is character development. Interestingly, when talking about how to compare the Dynasty Warriors Cao Cao to his historical counterpart, his personality provides the best way to begin our explanation. Much of the media based on 3rd century China owes quite a bit of its inspiration to The Romance of the Three Kingdoms, a classic Chinese novel about the fall of the Han Dynasty and the rise of the three kingdoms of Wei, Wu, and Shu. The novel itself is believed to have been written by Luo Guanzhong, who actually lived more than 1,000 years after the events of Three Kingdoms China, and it uses both historical information and fictional tales passed down over the centuries. Despite its questionable historical accuracy, the novel continues to have an impact on how that period of Chinese history is seen, including some of the biases within the novel. In practically every Dynasty Warriors game, Cao Cao is portrayed as a character with two sides attributed to him. To the kingdoms of Shu and Wu, he is seen as a ruthless conqueror seeking control of the land, but to the officers of Wei, he is seen as a competent leader under whom China can thrive once again. This is based on perhaps the most famous bias in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, where the Kingdom of Wei is portrayed as villainous to the point of one of the most famous passages reading as such: "Speak of Cao Cao, and Cao Cao arrives." While the more positive leader traits observable in the Wei storylines could be seen as being based on the historical Cao Cao. Also relating to the Romance of the Three Kingdoms are the names of Cao Cao's swords throughout the series. The Sword of Heaven, which is alternated between being Cao Cao's ultimate weapon and his standard weapon, was the sword that Cao Cao had at his side throughout the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, though some translations instead call it the Blue Blade, the name of another one of Cao Cao's swords in Dynasty Warriors 6. The last of Cao Cao's weapons from Dynasty Warriors 6 is named the Seven-Star Sword, same as a sword from Chinese legend that was said to be engraved with the Big Dipper constellation. In the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Cao Cao was entrusted with this sword by Wang Yun, with the intent of using it to assassinate Dong Zhuo. Comparing Cao Cao's role in the Dynasty Warriors series to the history of the Three Kingdoms, Tecmo Koei has actually been following his life fairly accurately, especially in the more recent Dynasty Warriors games. Born in 155 AD, Cao Cao made a name for himself during the Yellow Turban Rebellion, which lasted from 184 to 205, and became a leading general in the coalition against Dong Zhuo between 190 and 191. In order to secure his domain, he led a campaign against Lu Bu at Xiapi Castle in 198, and at Liu Bei's request executed Lu Bu, immediately turning his attention to his former ally Yuan Shao. The two met at Guandu in 200, and through superior strategy, Cao Cao had unified northern China into the Kingdom of Wei. After the Kingdom of Wu had formed, Cao Cao led his army and navy to Cherbi in 208, only to be outwitted by a combined army led by Sun Quan and Liu Bei. This defeat had quite an impact on Cao Cao, as did the news of Liu Bei forming the Kingdom of Shu. By the year 220, the King of Wei had died at the age of 65. With the Wei stories of Dynasty Warriors 7 and 8, Cao Cao's life and military history are followed quite well, especially with the emphasis on his major defeat at Cherbi. While Dynasty Warriors tends to be remembered primarily for its hack-and-slash action, you can't forget about the history behind its setting and all, and since the very first Dynasty Warriors games, it's very clear that Tecmo Koei did their research when creating their interpretation of the first Emperor of Wei, especially between his balance of inspiration from both history and folklore, as well as the dual-natured personality that continues to make him a distinctive character and one of the series' most popular characters. This has been Character Development. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested in more character creation trivia, feel free to use the annotation on the right to watch the last episode on Cordelia from Fire Emblem Awakening. Or, you can use the annotation on the left to see my friend and fellow hack-and-slash lover Blazing Ace Nelson do a detailed analysis on Cao Cao's gameplay in Dynasty Warriors 8. Thanks again, and take care, everyone.